Hey, this is Miko, and I'm going to talk to you today and give you a few tips about how to buy a new car in today's market, the seller's market, the short supply market. So, in case you were just woke up from a coma, the market changed a lot from 3 years ago. We had COVID-19, then we had the shutdown, then we're still having serious supply issues. Specifically, there are some parts, chip issues, not going to get into details, but long story short, the supply of new cars cannot keep up with the demand. It affects used cars as well, but we're going to talk about new cars only. So before we get into the actual tips, just it's important to understand that the dealer model, dealer franchise model, has been was set up over decades, and basically it was always manufacturers which would push sell wholesale as many cars as they can to dealers. Then they kind of help them out with incentives here or there, but basically as long as that they could sell them with those cars and then dealers make their money, manufacturers will be content with what's going on, more or less. And then dealer business model will be that they would compete with each other over customers, but they had a lot of inventory, and some of them would give up the profit in order to build more customer base, get return customers, push more leases so people come back to get more leases, get service business. Right now, all of that crumbled down because when you had a business of selling 200 cars, new cars per month, and suddenly you only get 10 or 20, it's just not sustainable. They have to change something. So what they are changing is they are charging more for cars, a lot more. Instead of selling for MSRP or below, often cars would be sold below MSRP or even below dealer invoice a few years back. Right now, a lot of new cars, if you get them MSRP, it's just an incredible deal. I'm not going to get into the moral or ethical side of charging over or gouging customers or speculation. Just one point to make is it's hard for dealer to sell cars at MSRP when anybody can take the same car and sell it as a used car for over MSRP on a dealer auction, which is happening right now. It's just the situation is insane and hard to understand what's going on, and dealers just have to deal with that. Another point that the relationship with manufacturers changed as well. Uh, Manufacturers don't have enough cars either. So when before they would just push as many cars as they can to their dealers and then maybe help them a little bit. Right now, when they have only 10 cars and they have 20 dealers in their area, they start looking which dealers they're going to give that allocation to, allocate the cars to, or even build spots. And where before they would look at customer satisfaction and maybe overall volume, right now they look a lot at how long cars stay on the lot. So as soon as the new car hits dealer lot, that the clock starts ticking, and then the dealer is heavily incentivized to get rid of that car as soon as possible. And that's important because you can use that to your advantage. So let's get to the actual tips. So the first tip will be number one is build a relationship with your local dealer. So why local? Again, like I just mentioned, or maybe I didn't mention that, but there's this thing that penetration market where each dealer assigned their zip code or area of their zip codes, and each zip code has its own dealer as far as manufacturer is concerned. They have their own map in mind, and they think that dealers should sell more from their market. So what they're doing right now, in addition to looking how fast cars turn, they look at how close to the market dealers sell. So right now, dealer might sell more cars, but if they sell out of state, manufacturer not going to give them as many cars. So again, build a relationship with your local dealer because your dealer is incentivized to sell to you. They might be willing to sell to you for less than they will sell out of state. And another reason why you want to deal with your local dealer is that it's somebody you can visit. If there are any issues come up, you can always just stop by. If some issues with a contract, with a car, with financing, it's much easier to deal locally when you're in the same community when you are neighbors and you have a relationship. And to build the relationship, a lot of people got conditioned to do everything by email remotely. Right now, you'll get better service, and you can definitely move further ahead if you at least speak on the phone and develop a relationship with a salesperson or sales manager, or best visit. Make an appointment, meet with somebody, sit down, discuss everything. Okay. Now, tip number two, what are you going to discuss? So, tip number two is that you have to understand the inventory situation. So, we know the news, we see what's going on, we know cars are, short supply. But how can you know what exactly is going on? How many cars the dealer has in stock, how many cars they have on the way? There's really no way of knowing. A lot of times, manufacturers and dealers together push each other to list all incoming cars or cars that are already pre-sold in their inventory on their website, on third-party websites, on manufacturer websites. So you really cannot tell by just looking at the website what's going on with the inventory. You can ask by email, but again, this is very low effort. You want to have this discussion in person. So the questions you want to ask once you meet with a salesperson: how many cars are in stock of this specific model? How are they equipped? Is there a car that might work for you? How many cars are on the way? Can you look at the incoming inventory? Is there a list? Is there a breakdown? So what's in the pipeline? How does it work with a specific manufacturer in the current situation? Will they allow a custom order? Where is the car going to be built? Is it guaranteed that it's going to be built? Because sometimes manufacturer or dealer can place a lot of orders, but if there's no allocation, meaning there's no guarantee that the car will be built, it's nothing. It's just up in the air. Just you have a car that might never get built. Um, um, is it possible to dealer trade a car? Again, 3, 5 years ago, it'll be common for dealer to look at the neighboring or somewhere else dealers, and if they see the car that they like, they just swap cars with them or just buy it from them. Right now, it's much more difficult. A lot of dealers simply not willing to trade. Or there's just nothing to trade for. So understand exactly by talking to a salesperson or the sales manager, by sitting down, hopefully they can show you some info so you can understand what is going on with the inventory. And again, it plays with the other thing about that manufacturers push dealers to sell cars. So if you know there's a car that's already on the lot and it's coming to the end of the month, or there will be a car that's going to arrive before the end of the month, you have some kind of leverage, because it's extremely, even more than before, it's important for dealers that no new cars are left unsold by the end of the month. All right, so tip number three. This is a big one. Don't get stuck on the model or brand. What tends to happen right now with the internet and everything's being online and the research, then that somebody like you might think you need a car. You go online, you go on Edmunds, let's say, what's the best SUV? Toyota RAV4 hybrid. Great, I want that car. And you kind of get locked in. And then what happens is that there could be a waiting list 6 months long, and everybody's paying 5,000 over MSRP for that car. While you might not, the hybrid is great. I'm a big proponent of hybrid and electric cars. Love them. I wish everything will be electric. But if you have to pay 10,000 more for electric car and you're driving 10 miles a day, just in the money equation does not make sense. So once you sit down with the dealer and the salesperson, once you develop the relationship, you can ask them, which car can I get a better deal? Which car you have right now? So, let's say it's Nissan. Everybody, you'll get inquiries for Nissan Leafs every day. And everything is pre-sold for months ahead. But we might have Nissan Rogue in stock that you can lease, and it's actually going to be not that expensive, or you can even buy that. And the car gets decent mileage. It gets over 30 miles on the highway. So maybe not what you wanted, not the exact thing. But once you have the idea of this inventory situation, your dealer situation, some incentives, maybe it will make sense to buy something else, maybe temporarily, or just even for a long term. And if you save money, it might make sense. So this was number three. Don't get stuck on a model or a brand. That's another thing. Everybody wants a Toyota. Nobody wants, I don't know, Hyundai. Um, I've seen a lot when it's even more comparable when Mercedes SUV will sell for literally 30, 40,000 over sticker. Then it come to BMW and a comparable model, not better or worse, just almost the same model, but a BMW would sell for MSRP. So, 30,000 to get not your first choice of car or not a car that's on the top of the some random list on Consumer Reports, I think it's definitely worth it. All right, tip number 4: be forthcoming with the dealer. Don't be confrontational. Be ready to go by their plan, by their process. And here's what I mean by that. So let's say they don't have a car, but they have a car that's coming in soon. Be willing to commit to that car right away and do everything they want you to commit. You want me to run your credit? Sure, here's my credit application. You want a deposit? How much do you want? 1,000, 2,000? Of course, if you don't have it, it's a different thing. But if you're ready to buy a new car for 30, 40,000, you should have a couple of thousand to put down. So credit check, deposit, sign an agreement, even better. That's actually to your benefit, and we'll discuss that later. There's an agreement that you can already sign with a price and all the terms. Be willing and actually ask to meet with a sales manager so you can you just move one level up. Sales managers, we all have egos, especially sales managers, and we love when customers give us praise and tell us how our sales people are great. So now you are involved, they're all involved, and that just means that the deal kind of gets cemented better in place. All right, so now we get into the actual meat of on the bone, the money. So tip number 5: you kind of have to be ready ahead of time, decide ahead of time what are you willing to do and ready to do in terms of the money. So once you've done your research, you should already know that certain car, like dealer will tell you, yeah, we sell all these cars for 5,000 over sticker or 10,000. Okay, you have to decide before you sit down, what are you willing to do? And then you can be congruent and tell them straight up front, okay, I understand the situation. I am willing to give you my credit card, credit application, my trade right now. If you do it for 4,000 over sticker or for a sticker, maybe some cars it's for sticker. Maybe you feel that this is all it's worth. And you have a chance that if you build your case and that case makes sense, that they will accept it. But you have to know ahead of time, what are you ready to accept? And at what point you want to walk away. This is same thing as with a regular negotiation. If 3 years, or even now, if you're dealing with a used car, your best your best negotiation tool is be willing to walk away. At some point, if you get to the point that you at the top of your limit, you get up and you leave. You can always come back. You can always change your mind. It's okay. But at least that shows the dealer that this is it. And just be ready for to do it like that. Tip number 6: understand and have everything broken down exactly what are you agreeing to, because there are a few components to car purchase and they all are in play, especially right now. So first of all, there's the price of the car. Okay, so some dealers will tell you there's $5,000 market. Okay, fine. Other dealers might tell you, no, it's MSRP coming down, it'll be great, it'll be MSRP. Then when you get to actually buy the car, they tell you, well, yeah, the car's MSRP, but we have mandatory warranty, paint protection, tire protection, and something else, and it's $7,000. So we're not going to get into which is better. Some people will say it's better to be forced into buying warranty than just paying markup, which is pure profit. Some will say it's better that the dealer is upfront. It doesn't matter at this point. What matters is that you understand exactly what's going on. So the price is one. Add-ons. Look the dealer straight in the eye. Look at me and ask me, are there any mandatory add-ons that I have to purchase? Yes, no, no, great. Yes, what are they? What is the mandatory? How mandatory is this? Is there a way to talk to the manager? Is there a way to lower the price? No, great. Now I understand. Third thing, financing. Can I pay cash? What's the rate you can offer me? Can you lock in that rate? Some manufacturers, some banks will allow you to lock in the rate for 90 days, some for 120 days, some will not allow at all. So it's important that you're clear, and the dealer is clear, whether you're paying cash or finance. Can you bring your own financing? Can I bring a check from a credit union? Can I bring a certified check? Can I bring a personal check? You have to understand what's going on. If there's a trade, what's going on with the trade? Are you giving to the dealer the trade right now, or you can do it later? It is unlikely that any dealer will guarantee you trade in value sometime in the future. So this is something you have to think about. But if this is the part of the equation, it has to be broken down and agreed on. And once all of this is agreed, get everything in writing, and preferably better than writing, get it in an email. So what I would do, ideal situation, once you sit down and meet with them, I would write an email to the sales manager. Dear sales manager, it was great meeting with you yesterday. Here's what we agreed on. This is the car, MSRP $40,000, agreed price $41,000, mandatory add-on paint protection for $500, financing have to go with your bank at rate of 2.9. This is what we agreed on. Please confirm. The manager responds from the dealer email. This is still not a contract. I understand, and this will get to the next point, but this is still not a contract, but this is as best as you can get in this situation. And you just get what you can get. And that brings me to the last point number 7, have a backup. Have a backup for what? If you cannot get this car, if that car is not being built, if the car gets damaged in transit, if the dealer goes back on their word. Now, you do have an agreement in verbal, you might have it in writing that somebody signed on it, you might have it in the email. This is not a binding contract. Legally, the dealer can pull anything, just as you can. You can walk away from a deal, right? That doesn't matter what you agreed on until you took delivery and signed the contract. You can walk away. Some states, like California, all deposits are refundable by law. Some states, they might keep your deposit, but still, $500 deposit could be worth it just losing over getting, a deal that doesn't make sense. So, all that being said, the final tip is have a backup. What are you going to do if the dealer promised you the car will be here in a month? What if the car's here in 2 months? Do you have something to drive? If you're in a lease with a different manufacturer, can you extend it? Do you have a backup car that you can use? Can you go without a car? So, another thing that you can do, and a lot of people do, I'm not a big fan as a dealer, but a lot of people will order 2 cars at the same time from 2 dealers, knowing that they're only going to buy one. But they do that, and at least it gives you the backup. And in this situation, as a consumer, I think that's a smart thing to do. So, just to summarize, 7 tips. Build a relationship with your local dealer. If it cannot be local, make it as local, as close to you as possible. 2, understand the inventory situation, what's in stock, what's coming, what can be got somewhere. Number 3, don't get stuck on a model or brand. Be flexible. If you do need a car, maybe you get something that you not your first choice of car. Number 4, be forthcoming. Be willing to meet with the dealer, sit down, commit to everything. Number 5, decide ahead of time what you're going to agree to, at which point you're going to walk away. Number 6, understand and agree to the price, add-ons, finance, all the terms of the purchase. And number 7, have a backup. Thanks for watching.